the sannyasis were all rushing to Prakashanand Saraswati. And they were like, having 1,000 mouths. They were saying, what happened in Ganga Ghat? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he started singing. We all joined. We felt this amazing experience. We have never felt anything like this in our entire life. What does this mean? Please explain to us. Please explain. And Prakashanand Saraswati was stuck with wonder. I have never seen my disciples. He is not a coward. He is not a cheater. He is a genuine man. So he understood, I have never seen this kind of expression of joy from my disciples. What is that? I should definitely meet this Chaitanya. So by holy name, Lord Chaitanya arranged the platform for meeting. Otherwise, if Lord Chaitanya meets Prakashanand Saraswati will get into dry argument, tarka shastra, nyaya shastra of Veda and Vedanta, which will bring no result. So Mahaprabhu made everything smooth by the holy name, and he heard so much about Lord Chaitanya, even Prakashanand Saraswati was eager to meet Lord Chaitanya. And the next day, the meeting was set. Everything was arranged perfectly, and the Brahmana jubilant, so happy. He arranged everything in detail as Mahaprabhu said. Everything was arranged. And Prakashananda Saraswati came with thousands and thousands of disciples. And they were all taking prasad. And Mahaprabhu purposely went a little late, so that they can finish their meal. Mahaprabhu avoids meeting Mayavadis, avoids eating food from materialistic people. Mahaprabhu is very careful about it. And Mahaprabhu says, the consciousness of that person will influence us. That is why sannyasis, they don't eat everywhere. They eat selectively, prasada cooked by pure personalities. Right? Like when at the fag end of Prabhupada's life, Prabhupada made this an order. Only 2-3 people. One is Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. Another is another devotee. So he named only these 3 people should cook for me. Nobody else. And Prabhupada said, it is disturbing me. I am not getting sleep. One night Prabhupada didn't get sleep at all. And Prabhupada said, the devotee who cooked prasad was not right. Prabhupada said the consciousness will influence us. Which is true. That is why the pure personalities won't take. In Lord Chaitanya's Leela, a Brahmana will come to Jagannath Mishra's house and he will take grain as dakshina. He is not taking cooked food. He will take grain, then he will cook himself and offer to his Gopal Shila, Shaligram. Then he will take prasad and Mahaprabhu will come and eat while offering is going on. You know that Leela that happened in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He will cook for himself. So the pure personalities will not eat, and Lord Chaitanya is very specific about it. He will not eat in here and there in all these places. He will not eat with Mayavad sannyasis. He will not mingle much with worldly minded people. Even he avoided meeting Maharaj Pratap Rudra for a very, very long time. They're very careful. And what happened? By the time, before coming to Varanasi for the second time, already Prakashanand Saraswati commented this. He is a Yuva sannyasi. He is immature. And look at him. He is staying in Chandrasekhara's house. Chandrasekhara is a Shudra. They had this funny system in those days, caste system. And Prabhupada said, many of the caste which we are following now is crazy ones. It's not a proper one. Because Kayastha, for example, Prabhupada gives this example. Kayastha community was once upon a time Brahmana community. And all of a sudden this Kayastha community became a Shudra community. And Prabhupada gives this story, very funny story. The king was Ballal Sena. the king who was ruling at the time was Ballal Sena, and suddenly this Ballal Sena went bankruptcy. He lost money in the war, there is no money, no income, nothing. And Kayastha Brahmanas were the rich people in Ballal Sena's kingdom. So Ballal Sena the king was regularly taking loan from this Kayastha Brahmanas. At one point, the Kayastha Brahmanas said, we are not going to give you loan anymore because you will not repay, and I know. And they said, no more loans. So immediately the king got so angry and said, from tomorrow onwards, they are Shudras. Kayastha Brahmana will become Kayastha Shudra. Don't go to their house, don't eat in their house, don't drink water from, the king declared a rule. And from that day, they were called Shudras. And Prabhupada said this, and many of the caste details nowadays, not the Varnas, Chaturvarnam Maya Srishtam, not that. There are many subcaste and further divisions. Prabhupada said it's all crazy. At so many times, due to so many reasons, all these things took birth. So they were saying, Mahaprabhu staying in Chandrasekhara Acharya's house, it's a Shudra's house. Lord Chaitanya purposely stayed in Chandrasekhara Acharya's house. Wanted to say, there is no caste and nothing for a spiritualist. Lord Chaitanya picked disciples from all kinds of this thing. From business class, from Shudra class, from Brahmana class, all kinds of combination Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya had. So they were blaming. And next day purposely Mahaprabhu went to Ganga little late, took his afternoon little late, and he was chanting all his prayers. Mahaprabhu ceremoniously will do all the prayers in the Sandhyas. Morning prayers, he will do every day, afternoon prayers, and he will do evening prayers. And in Puri also, every day he will go to beach, finish his afternoon prayers. On the way back, he will meet Haridas Thakur every day and spend time with him. So, finishing his afternoon prayers, Mahaprabhu went to the hall, and by the time the sannyasis had finished, they have all finished their meals. They finished, and they are like washing their hands and throwing a leaf at a particular place. Mahaprabhu went and he bowed down very respectfully to all the sannyasis assembled there. And the moment they all saw Mahaprabhu, because Lord Chaitanya is glowing, brilliant. So when they all saw Mahaprabhu, they started saying, oh, Chaitanya came, Yuva Sannyasi came, they were all talking, and the news reached Prakasharan Saraswati. Mahaprabhu washed his feet, then he bowed out to all the sannyasis, even though they were all Mayavada sannyasis. Prabhupada respects them. It is very important. Mahaprabhu respected them. Prabhupada said, a devotee is first a gentleman, then he is a Vaishnava. Sometimes devotees do this mistake, they are sometimes rude with material people, materialistic people. They sometimes hurt them, sometimes very bluntly they behave, and sometimes the devotees have that feeling they are very special and they are very close to Krishna, and they can do anything. They are not bounded by material rules. We make that mistake. But Lord Chaitanya very clearly said, even Mayavad sannyasis he will respect. Mahaprabhu has had a debate with many of them. Keshava Kashmiri, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he had debates for days together. But he will bow down to them, respect them, touch their feet sometimes. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, even karmis will come and pay namaskara, obeisances to him. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur will say, Dasosmi, he will say. Once Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose came to meet Lord Chaitanya, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And he's a religious man, and he knows little religions, and he had read Bhagavad Gita. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose bowed down, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, Dasosmi, I am your servant. Honestly from the heart. They never had superiority complex that I am better than you and I know things better. Always humble. Humility is a sadhu bhushana, alankara for a Vaishnava. Ornament of a Vaishnava. And Lord Chaitanya displayed it. Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami used to display that humility in front of Lord Chaitanya. And Mahaprabhu will say, Rupa Goswami, don't do this. My heart is breaking by your humility. Because once Sanatan and Rupa and Vallabh, his brothers, they saw in Allahabad, immediately they fell on the ground like a stick. Then, just like a rod stick, they fell down on the ground and plucked a bunch of grass and, put it in their mouth and holding, that is how they were. In South India, they had this custom, they will go and if they have to pay respect, immediately they will remove their top garment and tie it around their hip and they will bend down and stand, That is how Ramanuja Sampradaya were. They will have their Angavastra, chadar on the top of their body. And when they see gurus or acharyas or seniors, immediately they will remove their Angavastra and tie it around their hip and stand like a slave. Rupa Goswami is going even one step ahead. He fell on the ground flat and plucked grass and put it on his mouth. And that means he's a slave. In those days when zamindars walk, the slaves will remove their upper garment and hold it in their mouth. It is like, they should not even unknowingly speak something so that their saliva will spit out. Slaves. So Rupa Goswami displayed this act of slavery. And Mahaprabhu said, your humility is breaking my heart. And he came and hugged him. And tears were falling, dripping from Lord Chaitanya's eyes on the shoulders of Rupa Goswami. What a moving scenario. So, Lord Chaitanya displayed humility. And after washing his feet, washing his hand, he went and sat down where people throw the garbage leaves and the dirty leaves and spit and, he went and sat down in an impure, contaminated place. And all of them said, Mahaprabhu, don't sit here, this is a dirty place, don't sit. Mahaprabhu smilingly bowed down and he sat down, he did not respond. So they all ran to Prakashanand Saraswati and said, that sannyasi, Yuva sannyasi is sitting there. We don't know what to do, you please come. And Prakashanand Saraswati came running to the doorstep. And he saw this golden, glowing, brilliant Mahaprabhu sitting at that contaminated place. He went and so gently, lovingly caught Mahaprabhu and said, Narayana, why are you sitting here? This is the way they used to address each other, Narayana, because they believe they are Narayana. The Mayavadi, Brahmavadi sannyasis, they believe they are supreme. They have become God. By meditation, by practices, they have become God. So they think they are God. So they address each other as Narayana. So if they see a beggar, they call him Daridra Narayana. And if they see a rich man, they will call him Lakshmi Narayana. But everybody is Narayana only for them. That is how they address each other. So Prakashanand Saraswati came and said, Narayana, it became true because he is Narayana only. And that form of Lord Chaitanya is called Gaur Narayan. So when he said Narayana, it became true because he was Narayana. So he caught him so gently, and Lord Chaitanya was just arranging situations in such a way that let Prakashanand Saraswati accumulate mercy again and again so that he will be a qualified recipient to get the final message. This is a trick of preaching. When we start speaking, sometimes people may argue. So what we should do, we should fill their mouth with prasadam so they can't respond. So only ears will be working. Then you can preach Aram se. So this is what Lord Chaitanya did. In those days, this is what His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj used to do. In the airport, give prasad to everybody. Wherever he goes, he gives prasad. If eating prasad is not there, he will give garland, flower prasad. Something and make that man qualified to receive Harinam. All marketing strategy they had. Wonderful strategy. So Lord Chaitanya is making Prakashanand Saraswati getting qualified, getting that qualification. So he said, Narayana, why are you sitting here? Caught his hand and pulled him. And Lord Chaitanya said, I am fallen. My spiritual master told me I am a fool. Took such a humble step. You know, and Prakashanand Saraswati even was moved by the humility of Lord Chaitanya. And Prakashanand Saraswati, please come, we will sit and talk inside you. Please come, you are sannyasi. It pains me to see you like this. Please come. What a humility Lord Chaitanya displayed. When Lord Chaitanya spoke with Keshava Kashmiri, when Lord Chaitanya spoke with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he allowed them to speak. Keshava Kashmiri was speaking, writing 100 poems glorifying Mother Ganges, and that had few mistakes. Patiently Lord Chaitanya heard. Lord Chaitanya heard Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya patiently for 7 days, knowing that is a wrong philosophy.